For almost 40 years, pro wrestling wasn't ruled by one single global giant. Nope, it was more like an empire of local kingdoms, all flying the same flag, the National Wrestling Alliance. So today, we're going to get into the story of the system that built that empire, how it all came crashing down, and, believe it or not, its surprising rebirth.
So let's think about this. Before one company just took over the whole map, how did wrestling even work? Like, who was actually calling the shots in this wild, passionate business?
Well, the answer is something called the territory system. And it was basically this grand alliance. The best way to think about it is like a network of powerful families, right? Each one controlled its own turf, and they all had a gentleman's agreement not to step on each other's toes. But the biggest thing? They all agreed on one world champion. A single, undisputed champ who could travel from one kingdom to the next.
Okay, but a kingdom like that doesn't just pop up overnight. To really get why it was even created, you have to picture the total, absolute chaos that was happening right before it.
So before 1948, the wrestling world was just a mess. I mean, you had dozens and dozens of local promoters, these are the guys who run the shows, and pretty much every single one of them had their own world champion. Can you imagine? It made the title totally meaningless, and fans had no idea who the real champ was. So a group of really smart promoters led by a guy named Sam Muchnick came up with this brilliant solution. They formed the National Wrestling Alliance. And the plan? It was so simple. One governing body, one undisputed champion, and a way to share wrestlers to keep the shows exciting everywhere.
But here's the thing. This wasn't some friendly little club. It was honestly a lot more like a cartel. Even after the government got involved and forced them to get rid of the official territory rules, the handshake deals just went underground. They kept going in secret. I mean, look at this quote right here. Members swore to rigidly enforce these invisible borders. They were all about keeping rivals out and protecting their own slice of the pie, no matter what.
And you know what? For decades, this secret, super rigid system, it worked like a charm. It kicked off an era that a lot of people still call the golden age of professional wrestling.
So how did it all work? The business model was actually genius in its simplicity. Step 1. A promoter joins the alliance. Bam! Just like that, you get your own protected turf. No other NWA members can come in and compete. The biggest perk, though? You got to book the traveling NWA world champion to fight your local hero. I mean, that's a guaranteed sellout. And finally, the system let wrestlers move around from territory to territory. This was huge. It kept their characters fresh and let all these cool, unique regional styles pop up. You just wouldn't get that with one single national company. And what you ended up with was this sprawling map of power. I'm talking Jim Crockett in the Mid-Atlantic, the legendary and brutal Hart Family Dungeon up in Stampede Wrestling in Canada, the Von Erich Dynasty down in Texas. Each one was like its own little wrestling universe with its own stars, its own feuds, its own stories, but they were all part of the same NWA galaxy.
But you know how it goes. Like every great empire in history, the NWA's reign couldn't last forever. The walls of that kingdom were about to come tumbling down. So what brought the walls down? Two things, really. The explosion of national cable television and one man's absolutely ruthless ambition. All of a sudden, a local wrestling show from, say, Georgia could be beamed into homes all across the country. Those old territory borders, they started to become meaningless. And that one man? Well, that was Vince McMahon. And he wasn't interested in just owning one piece of the map. He wanted the whole thing.
And the war for the future of wrestling? It really began on this one single day. This was the day the first shot was fired, the one that would ultimately destroy the territory system for good. It's a day known infamously as Black Saturday. Here's what happened. Vince McMahon bought out Georgia Championship Wrestling, which was a huge flagship NWA territory. He didn't just buy the company, he seized their super valuable Saturday night TV slot on the national superstation TBS. And then he replaced their gritty, Southern-style wrestling with his polished WWF product. For the loyal NWA fans, this was nothing short of a hostile takeover. The war was officially on. And after Black Saturday, man, the dominoes just fell, one after the other with unbelievable speed. A guy named Jim Crockett Jr., he tried to fight back. He started buying up other territories to try and form this national NWA super promotion, but he just couldn't compete with McMahon's money. The WWF started using these really predatory tactics, like scheduling its brand new Survivor Series pay-per-view on the exact same night as the NWA's biggest show of the year, Starrcade. I mean, within just 4 years, Crockett was basically bankrupt. He had to sell his company to the media mogul Ted Turner, who would rename it, you guessed it, World Championship Wrestling, or WCW. And by 1993, when WCW officially pulled out of the NWA, the old empire was completely gone. Dead.
And just like that, the whole map was redrawn. One by one, all those iconic territories we talked about, they were either bought out, swallowed up by the bigger fish, or they just folded. They couldn't compete in this new national landscape. The golden age was officially over.
So for years and years, the NWA name was basically just a memory, right? It was like a ghost that kind of haunted the small independent scene. But then, in a twist that absolutely nobody saw coming, the story took a very sharp turn. That comeback, it all started in 2017. And it began with an announcement that just completely shocked the entire wrestling world. Yeah, that's right. Billy Corgan, the lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins, of all people, bought the NWA. He bought the name, the history, the championship belts, he bought the whole shebang. And his vision wasn't just to start another wrestling promotion. No, he wanted to do the unthinkable. He wanted to bring back the territory system itself. And get this, it's not just some pipe dream, it's actually happening. Starting in late 2023, the NWA began officially sanctioning new territories, building partnerships with local promotions from Ohio to Tennessee, all the way down to Texas. I mean, for the first time in decades, that old map is being redrawn, but for a whole new era.
And that really brings us to the big, fascinating question, doesn't it? The NWA is betting its entire future on an idea from 1948. So can a system that was built on regional protection and handshake deals actually work in today's world of global streaming, social media, and one company that dominates everything? I mean, the great experiment is happening right now as we speak, and I guess only time will tell if this reborn empire can actually rise again.